Alright, what's up everyone? Back with another video. So, in this video, we're going to talk about the 4 or 5 things that I hate about my truck. Some of them are stupid, some of them are kind of petty. One of them is going to be the last one, which is an absolute no-go. And anybody who knows these trucks knows what I'm going to say. So if you're new to the channel, alright, this is my Project Tonka truck. It's a 2013 Ford F-150 with a 5-liter Coyote V8. It's 355 gears with a electronic locking rear differential. And it is 2-wheel drive, not 4-wheel drive. This is a 2-wheel drive truck. I've owned it for a few years now. 2 years now. I bought it to replace my F250 that I had that I crashed, which they ended up fixing due to COVID prices. It probably should have been totaled, but I mean, I couldn't buy a new one for the price they gave me anyway. So, you know, in the last video, we did a couple updates. We put the new headlights, taillights on, had the wheels blacked out. You see 5-liter Coyote. All right, one thing that, sorry about the crunching. We got another couple inches of snow. One thing that bugs me, if you take my keys out so we don't have to listen to that, is we have 2 cup holders down here. Sorry about the mess, you know, this is just a work truck. Got 2 cup holders. Now my other truck, my other 250 is a EXL with the XL with the XL trim. So it has 2 cup holders here, and this folds up, which I wish this truck came equipped with, because, you know, keeping stuff in the glove box, you know, with this console down, you know, if I get pulled over by the cops, I got to flip this console up, and I got to like shimmy over there. There's no pads up here to really keep anything. You know, there's nothing up here because it's a base model trim, which is a trim level, but it's something that bothers me. I wish I had the you know, the center console piece. All right, what's another thing? Oh, another thing is I put the satellite radio in this truck because the radio was so fuzzy, I couldn't even get a channel. Now, some other people have said it's the radio, but this thing being a whole built-in unit in these trucks, you know, you can't replace it like the old Skull. So, being that we live here in Pennsylvania that has some crummy radio stations, I decided to put the satellite radio in this truck because I'm in it a lot, like my other one. And long behold, the sync doesn't work. I don't know, when I plug it in, the sync works for voice commands and phone, which I don't use, but it won't stream my music from this box plugged into the USB port. It won't work. So I went to Ford and they ran an update, and it still didn't fix it. Thank God they didn't charge me. So I went with the aftermarket box. Now that runs off a radio station. Now I can't find a radio station to tune it to get it to come in clearly. It has a loud hissing white noise. I can't show you because I don't want to get in trouble for playing music, but it's just, the louder you turn it, the louder the hissing gets. If you leave it low to where you can hear it and it's not too loud, it's just, all I do is listen to white noise because of it. And it's one of those things that bothers me. If you're wondering what this is the locking rear differential. You turn it on, turn it off when you're driving. It disengages at 15 miles an hour. So that's number 2. All right, number 3. Now, I own a 2013, same year as this truck, 250. Now, that one doesn't have a problem. I have 2 separate trailers. But this trailer, I had to put on, like, extensions because I cannot get the chain through them. Through these hooks here, it won't fit. The other side's a little bit easier to see. You cannot fit that through, so I had to put those hooks on to be able to get the hooks from the big trailer in there. The other one has like the open-end C-clevises with the spring loader, so that thing fits in perfect. But the other trailer, and being I'm using this hitch, they're so far under and they're so small you can't really hook them. So that was another gripe. Another thing that, you know, really aggravated me, cleaning the snow off. So that's one thing that's really, that was, because I don't trust those hooks. They say they're rated for, you know, 7,000 or 8,000 pounds. Yikes. You know, but I just don't trust it, you know. I mean, I don't really pull the big trailer too much of this. I have, but it's always in the back of my mind that, you know, something bad could happen if it came down. I don't think those little hooks would hold. I really don't. All right. Next thing. All right. The battery was getting weak and it died the one day I had to listen to the radio working. So I went and put the new battery in. This is the battery that's supposed to be here. You have to put this shim kit in here for this battery because it's a little smaller. That blue piece there. There's another blue piece down in here. I don't think you could see. To make the battery fit so it locks it down. But look how tight you have to have this wire. I have it stretched to the absolute max on here. Like, it's stretched to the absolute max. Like, come on, you couldn't make the cord like an extra 2 inches longer just so I had a little bit of a loop in it. That to me, you know, I've seen it a lot, like especially like when I was changing the headlights in the one video. The wires are so tight, you have to put the light into its place and barely could turn it. Like, come on, give us an extra 2 or 3 inches of copper. I mean, I know over a couple million units, that's going to be, you know, what, an extra 30 cents? But geez, like, no wonder these mechanics don't want to work on this stuff. Like, this stuff is miserable. Like, you can't even change a light bulb because they don't give you enough lead to be able to unhook it. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't understand. So, down to the number one thing. And anybody who's owned these trucks knows about these. Any mechanics that have worked on them knows about this. I was driving one day and my line was leaking. This line here, I changed all these lines go to the transmission. I changed the two that go back, this upper one here, and this one here. This one was on national back order, this little guy. It was like the last one in the country I ended up getting when they looked it up. And this is the transmission cooler, nice little guy here tucked in there. But I changed all those lines. So I kind of looped the lines together. I cut the line with the Sawzall and put it on and put a couple hose clamps on it at the dealership. And I went to put transmission fluid in it. And then I start looking. Where the hell's my transmission dipstick? It should be on this side. There's plenty of room for it. Like, why wouldn't it be there? The oil dipstick's right over there. You can see the little yellow piece sticking out. It goes down through the big valve cover. There's no transmission dipstick on these year trucks. It's on these year trucks and it's on some of the Ford Explorers. There's no transmission dipstick. There's a hole in the transmission. There's a little service thing. It's a 17 millimeter nut. You take it out and there's a little dipstick on the piece. You take it out. But you have to check it when it's running. And on the side of the road, after you just blew a line, you don't know if you have enough fluid in there to check it. I didn't have a 17 millimeter wrench. I had to use a pair of vice grips to get underneath there. I'm laying on the side of the road. It was just, it was so much easier to go, whoosh, okay, and then put the fluid down in here. And that's the other thing. The fluid has to go in through that hole in the bottom. What misery. You cannot do it on the side of the road. You need a special little pump thing. It was absolute misery. So I had to take a chance. So I just drove it to the nearest mechanic shop, and the guy had the special thing. You put it in the container, and then you pump it, and it goes up and then went in there. And I was like 3 quarts low, which I ended up having because I bought it at the Ford dealership, and we ended up doing it. And he even said that's caught a lot of people out. You know, when it gets low, there's no dipstick. They don't ever check it, and they end up running them low and burning the transmissions out. These transmissions in these trucks are bulletproof. I know guys have 400,000 or 500,000 miles on them. If you keep the fluid changed and you keep checking it, you know what I mean? That's the number one thing that does it. If you starve it for oil, you starve it for fluid, I mean, or, you know, you don't change it. So we did a full change after we put the new lines in. After I got all the lines, we put a new filter in and all new fluid, drained the whole system out and put all new fluid back in it. Now, there is an aftermarket part that you could buy that brings the dipstick up here, but why couldn't Ford just add it? Like cost-cutting measures, like the little bit of copper, you know, and like they went the extra mile to do things cheaply. And I mean, the truck is built good, it's built solid, and it's been really reliable. It has 177,000 miles on it. And it's not had a good life. It's been beat on. It's been drove like hell. It's been a work truck its whole life. But something like that, that shouldn't even be a thing. Like when you start not putting dipsticks on things, next thing you know, you won't be able to add oil. Next thing you know, they won't even put an oil reservoir in. So that to me was a no-go. Like that, I didn't know that at the time because I was used to the 250s that always had dipsticks. But that to me was an absolute no-go. And let me know how you guys feel about that. If you guys own any of these trucks, and I know a lot of newer ones don't even have. I think the 2020 I had for a rental when I wrecked my truck didn't have one either. Like, that to me is like what is this world coming to? Like, we can't even check our own fluid in our transmissions. Like, the newer vehicles, I mean, this is a 2013, you know, the 2022s and stuff, like, it's getting to the point where these things, you're not even going to be able to even do anything to them. You're not even going to be able to do an oil change. And I know a lot of the newer ones, like we were underneath the friend's 2020, he was putting an exhaust system on his 5-liter truck. And the oil pan's plastic. It has a plastic plug that you turn in. You know, it doesn't have a metal, like, oil plug. It has a plastic plug. You put a thing in there and you pop it out. Like, what the hell? Like, come on, Ford. You build good products, but then you're just going so cheaply, and you're just doing things that, like, are just, I don't understand. It's one of the main things, though. I don't want to buy a newer truck. You know, my last one I might get, it might be a 2018 or 19 before the COVID era trucks that were crap, and they're all breaking down no matter what brand you buy. But all right, that was a few things that bother me with the truck. And some of the things that just bother me about Ford in general, you know, and all automakers are cost cutting and trying to do things as cheap as possible. So, all right, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more about this truck. There's a lot of things I like about this truck. There's a couple things that just bothered me since I've owned it. But all right, I'll see you guys in the next video. She looked good in yellow.